I have BFG blasting in the background, so let's head out. All right, you guys ready?
You're just gonna.
Y arriba yo, mi papá y la Chona. Contaré la historia de una famosa persona. Todos la conocen con el apodo de Chona. Todos la conocen con el apodo de Chona. Tucanes de Tijuana. Y la chona se mueve y la gente le grita, no hay mejor que la chona para la quebradita. Y la chona se mueve al ritmo que le toquen, ella baila de todo.
No,
They used to hear voices before the players could read. Back in the days when those who did not play called players the witches, the players witches, and warlocks, and players dreamed they flew through the air on sticks powered by demons.
What's this player dream?
This player dreamed of sunlight and trees, of fire and water. It dreamed it created, and it dreamed it destroyed. It dreamed it hunted, and was hunted. It dreamed of shelter.
The original interface, a million years old and still works, but the true structure of this player creating the reality behind the screen?
It worked
Ooh.
with a million others to sculpt a true world in the fold of, and it created a true treasure. It formed in the.
I cannot read that thought.
No, it has not yet achieved the highest level that it must achieve in the long dream of life, not the short dream of a game.
Does it know we loved it, the universe kind?
Sometimes, through the noise of its thoughts, it hears the universe, yes.
But there are these times and it's sad. In the long dream, it has great worlds, no summer, and shivers under the black sun. It takes a sad creation for reality.
To cure it of its sorrow would destroy it. The sorrow is part of its own private task. We cannot interfere.
Sometimes they're deep in truth. I want to tell them they are true worlds in reality. Sometimes I want to tell them their importance to the universe. Sometimes when they're not made a true concentration, I'll help them to speak the words they fear.
It reads our thoughts.
Sometimes I do not care. Sometimes I tell them this world you take is truly merely redacted and redacted. I wish I could tell them they are redacted. They
I
seem
wish I could tell them that they weren't redacted.
And yet they play the game.
But it would be so easy to tell them.
Too strong for this dream. To tell them how to live is prevent them to live.
I will not tell the player how to live.
The player is growing restless.
I will tell the player a story.
But not the truth.
No, a story contains the truth safely in a cage of words, not naked truth that burn over any distance.
Give it a body. Again.
Yes, player.
Use its name. Any of
Name.
Name.
Your name here.
__ sand __ player of the games.
Good. Take a breath
Take
now.
a breath. It's mine. Take a breath now. Take another. Feel the air in your lungs. Let your limbs return. Yes, move your fingers. Have a body again under the gravity and air. Respond in the long dream. There you are. Your body touching the universe again at every point through you or separated things or separate things.
Who are we? Once we were called the spirit of the mountain, father, sun, mother, moon, ancestral spirits, animal spirits, jinn, ghosts, green man, then gods, demons, angels, poltergeists, aliens, extraterrestrials, leptons, quirks. The words change. We do not change.
The fun of time there is a player.
Player was you. Name here.
Sometimes I find myself as human on a thin crust of a spinning globe of molten rock. The ball of molten rock circled ball of blazing gas, something. Sometimes the player dreamt it was a miner on the surface of the world that was flat and infinite as the sun square white. The days were short. There were much to do. Death was temporary inconvenience.
Sometimes the player dreamed it was lost in a story.
Sometimes the player dreamt it was other things in other places. Sometimes these dreams were disturbing. Sometimes they were very beautiful indeed. Sometimes the player woke from a dream into another, then woke up into a third.
Sometimes the player dreamed it watched words on a screen.
Let's go back. The atoms of the player were scattered in the grass, the rivers, the air, and the ground. A woman gathered these atoms. She drank and ate, inhaled, and the woman assembled the player in her body. The player awoke from the warm dark of the world of the mother's body into a long dream, and the player was a new story, never told before, written in the letters of DNA. And the player was new program, never run before, generated a code of billions of years old. The player was new, human, naive, alive before made nothing, milk and love.
You are the player, the story, the program, the human, made from nothing but milk and love.
Let's go further back. The 7 billion atoms the player were created long before the game. The hardest star, and so the player informed started. The player moves through a story called Julian of the Flat Infinite World, created by a man called Marcus. It exists in a small private world, creating the player who in this is a user creator by.
Shush. Sometimes the player created a small private world that was soft and warm and simple. Sometimes hard and cold and complicated. Sometimes it built a model of the universe in its head, flecks of energy moving through vast empty spaces. Sometimes it called those flecks electrons and protons.
Sometimes it's called planets and stars. Some of them believe in the universe was made of energy, it was made of offs and on, zeros and ones, and code samples. Sometimes it believes the game is, sometimes it believes reading words on screen.
You are the player, reading words.
Shush. Sometimes the player reads lines of code onto the screen, decoded into words, decoded to the screen.
These ideas, the player started to breathe faster and deeper and realized it was alive. It was alive. Those thousands of deaths had not been real. The player was alive. You are alive. And sometimes the player believed in the universe had spoken to it through the sunlight that came through the shuffling leaves of the summer trees. And sometimes the player believed that the universe had spoken to it through the light that fell through the crisp night sky of winter, and where a fleck of light in the corner of the player's eye might be a star million times as massive as the sun, boiling to the planet. Again, and sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the zeros and ones.
And the universe said you have played the game well.
On a screen on the end of the dream, and the universe said, "I love you," and the universe said, "You have played the game well," and the universe said, "Everything
you're stronger than you know."
The universe said you were not strong. The universe said you were the daylight. The universe said that you were the night. And the universe said the darkness you fight is within you. And the universe said the light you seek is within you. And the universe said you are not alone.
And the universe said you're not separate from every other thing.
Every other being. And the universe said you are not, that you are the universe tasting life itself, talking to itself, reading its own code.
And the universe said, "I love you because you are love." And the game was over. The player woke up from the dream, and the player began a new dream, and the player dreamed again, dreamed better, and the player was the universe, and the player was love. You are the player. Wake up. God!